Alright guys, I'm going to kind of point out some cool things I've learned about leatherworking. Some of them's like the untold secrets or whatever. People don't talk about it, but I've always been curious. The first point I'm going to get to is usually when I see like a leatherworking bench and they're working on leather, they've always got these glass jars like this. And I've been kind of curious why they had the glass jars. And then I figured it out because I was having problems making a really smooth finish, an even finish. Now I realize when you're dealing with leather and animals, they are animals. They get into fights. They do things. They get cut open. They have a scar or stretch marks and stuff like that. So as I was trying to figure out how to get a nice tan, because I was getting it really blotchy, and what I had done is I was using just the dauber, and I would cover a whole huge surface area. Well, you just can't do it in a nice even coat, even with the large dauber. This is one of the larger daubers. It's one of the largest you can buy, actually. Cleaned up, they kind of look like this. That's a brand new one. You can use them several times over. When they get bad, throw them out. They're not that expensive, but they're not cheap where you can use them as one-shots. But I figured out what the jars were about. Some people mix the different colors to get the color they're looking for. The other thing about it is when you buy like your dyes and all that, you want to buy in big bottles. This is actually not a dye. This is Canoba cream, but I'll get to that later. So you buy in a big bottle like that and trying to use a big bottle and then dauber it. And this is the best thing to use to get a nice smooth finish. I did something for my sister the other day and I used one of these and the finish was awesome. It was smooth and even as I could get it. The only problems you saw was the natural things in the skin, the stretch marks, or in this case the cow had a scar. And that scar stuck out. But I think it made it really cool and unique. It gave the piece of leatherwork a lot of character. So if you're having problems with evenness, go to a bigger applicator. I use this applicator. Obviously you use gloves. This stain is designed to stain skin. So obviously it's going to stain your skin. So I use this and it worked out great. Got it all smooth. And then when you're pouring it back, you pour it into a little tub like this or something like that. And it's hard to pour it into a bottle like this. So what you do is what you have left over, you pour into a wide mouth tub like this. It sets forever. And then you just start using the little bit that's left in there after you pour it back and you got a small piece. Say like I did some checkbooks, one for my wife and one for my daughter. Where this dauber was just fine in what it did. So I could just daub into there and do it real quick and daub in there instead of where even if you used it up and you get down to here, your dauber is not going to reach down there. So I figured out what those jars were in the background of a lot of leather workers' videos because they're trying to make things easier for themselves. The other thing, this came from an idea from another person that's leatherworking who got that idea from somebody else, and that's this. Obviously, these are ketchup and mustard containers, but I actually have, this one says Resolene, I don't know if you can see it, and then this one's got my Carnauba oil, which I got this. Well, when you're trying to finish a piece and polish it up and make it look nice, and you're trying to get from this huge tub, it's hard. This, you just pop it open, take out your cloth, do the little bit that you need, or use as much as what you need for the amount, and you use it up, you polish it, and then you're done. You don't have to worry about trying to tip from a big bottle like this. Then when that just gets low, you just fill it up. It makes it more manageable. That was one of the greatest tips I'd ever heard anybody say. It's an awesome tip. I know with anything like this, I'm going to use that. The other thing, I said I was having problems with my tooling. And I knew it was because of the bench, the bench I had. It was just so small and unruly to use. And then I got this. It's a piece of granite, and it's a granite block. I got this from Tandy Leather. Now, I'm not sponsored by anybody, and I mean anybody. I don't have a Patreon page. I get no money. All the leather working I've been doing is for free because I'm trying to learn, and I can't charge somebody for learning how to do leather because there's a lot of mistakes that if I would have been better, I would have not have made, but the piece would have came out looking better, and all that. So right now I'm not charging, I'm not making any money. So when I say something, it's just what it is. And I got that from Tandy Leather. It's helped my tooling out a lot. I've seen some people, they use the anvils, and I went to Harbor Freight, and I went to a couple other places, and I saw their anvils, and you're talking just a small surface area, which doing like a deck box or something like that for the TCG crowd, that might work. You could stick it in there and get your snap in or get your rivet set and all that. But this has helped me out a lot. I just started doing another holster for a guy, and went through it, and my pricking iron, bam bam with the hammer, and it was through. The pattern came out great. My stitches came out great. I have no arguments with how well that's stitched up and all that. And that granite block made it so much easier. Without that granite block, it seemed like I was banging. It would take like 5-6 hits sometimes to get enough through the leather that I could actually start sewing and using my owl and stuff like that. This time, using this granite block, it just bam, bam, and I was done. That's it. Pull out, and then you go to your next location, and you prick that iron on that too. My stitching groove came out just perfect. I really liked the stitching on this. I loved it. It was great, and I'm sure the guy who's going to get this is going to be really happy so far because I've done a really good job. And that granite blocks helped out with that. When I did my sister's project, I did the lacing on the side. I did the double loop. And going in, I don't like the chisels for doing lacing. I like the actual round hole. And so I did that. And this granite block helped out so much. It cut my time down, and I was actually doing a bigger piece. My first piece was about half the size, and it took me 3 times longer than doing the one for my sister, which that had a lot longer outside, and I did it in a lot less time, and that's because of this granite block. It helped out a lot. So if you're getting into leather working, get yourself a granite block. Get yourself a strong table. I got one from Fleet Farm, but it was only 1 foot by 2 foot, which was hard to use, but it still worked. I mean, that's the way you got to go. But you can't knock it. It's worth its weight in gold. You got it. It's a must if you're going to do any kind of tooling. It helped out tremendously and cut my time doing the project in a lot. Another thing I wanted to point out is that your cutting boards, you can get them from Walmart and all that stuff, and didn't realize this at first because I always thought they had a groove in them on the outside, but they were always flat. After I got this one, I don't know if you can see, it's pretty used to cut up, and then it's got a curve, or it's concaved. And I was looking at that going, well, wow, it's concaved. So when I'd tool and I'd hit, it had a flex to it. And that was part of my reason, too, for my stamping and stuff like that. I was just getting too much flex. And I found that out because of the cutting board. So when you buy these, you can buy them dirt cheap. I haven't bought the expensive ones. I don't know what the expensive ones using them are like. This one, when I was doing the little holes to do the lacing, for some reason it punched down in there a little bit and leave the leather trail in there. Oh well, it's where the lacing hole was, so it's leather I was removing. So when you're buying these cutting boards, they're dirt cheap. I think I got this one for $6 at Walmart, and it worked out great. Don't always rely on places like Michael's or Hobby Lobby or an actual craft store. Their prices are really high on a lot of that stuff. What you want to do when you're using those ones is like Michael's and Hobby Lobby, they have apps that you can get on your phone, and they'll do like one item. Sometimes most of the time I see it for 40%. Sometimes 50. I've even gotten 60%. When you get one of those once a week from those companies usually, and that's when you go in, you get the high priced item that you wanted. One was this cutting self-healing cutting mat I got. It was a little over. I don't remember the price. I remember though I bought it pretty dang cheap, and I was really happy with it. I bought tools from there. I got some other things from like cutting instruments from there. Half price, 40%. You can't go wrong. Otherwise, start looking into like the Tandy Leather, the Weaver Leather Company, and stuff like that, and start looking at the prices. That's where I buy my leather. I bought once from Hobby Lobby, and it came out to like $15 a square foot of leather. Buying from Tandy, without the discounts, it came out to about 10 foot a square foot of leather. And so watch where you're buying. Make sure you're looking at the leather shops, but those leather shops can also get pretty expensive. So shop around. The other thing that I do, my mallet. I don't have a leatherworker's mallet. It works pretty good, although as you can see, it kind of gets dinged up in the process. It wasn't designed for leatherworking, but for $3, it works pretty good. It's a pound and a half, $3, and it worked great. So you can find it from everywhere. This is from Harbor Freight. You can find deals at other places. Shop around. Don't always go to the Michaels. They have the yellow mallets that you see a lot of leather workers use for $14 at Hobby Lobby. I got this for dirt cheap, so it's nice. So look for those deals and all that. I got this cheap. This is for when you're doing your saddle stitching and stuff like that. Now this hasn't been flattened out, but I use this to flatten that out. $3 mall, which was really good too. So, and that works. And then on this side, since I have that remnant bag, just to give the leather some protection when I'm pounding on a face, trying to get the leather to flatten out inside the stitching groove. I actually put leather protection on here. It's just contact cement. I use DAP. It worked great. I've had no problem with it. It's flexible. This is 32 hours now that this has been dry. So, and it's still flexible, so I have no problem. So don't go just with the barge, because people are, gotta go barge. If it works, use it. If it's cheaper than the other product, use it. That's how companies charge a lot of money, because they're like, this industry really likes our product, so we're going to charge more because we're going to make more money off that industry. So look around. So look for your bargains. Don't always just look at the craft stores or the leather stores. You can get things from Harbor Freight, Home Depot, Menards, things like that too. You can get some of those tools you need. And that all works out great. Then the other thing is dollar stores. you get the dollar stores, and you can find, sometimes you can find sponges like this. Um, Five Below. I've seen sponges. This I didn't actually get at Five Below. Actually, yeah, I did. These are from Five Below. I think these were for a set of three. I paid $3, so they were like $1 a piece. So I got that. I get these at the Dollar Tree, and this is my pattern paper, and it's nice and thick. I've never had any problems with it. It's got some thickness to it, so when you make out your pattern, and no matter what you do in leatherworking, you always want to use a pattern or develop a pattern, because if you screw up making it with your pattern, you can change your pattern. But when you cut the leather and it's already cut and you've screwed up, well, hopefully you cut a little too big so you can cut down, but you still can't. This is 50 cents for one of these, so you get two of them from the Dollar Tree for $1. You can't go wrong there. Like I said though, this is just a quick video of things that I've found out and learned. Also, lighting, big thing in tooling. I was having a problem because my light is up over there. Obviously, I got some light over here right now from the camera and stuff. Actually, I need to get more lighting for the camera. But I don't have a lot of lighting. And so from Five Below, I got a little table lamp, and that works really great. I think the shade was $3, and the lamp itself was $5. The light bulb, though, is kind of expensive a little bit. I have a smart house, so all I have to do is say a couple things, and lights go on and off. Like, Alexa, bench light on.
Okay.
I can control it that way too. Alexa, bench light 50%.
Okay.
Alexa, office light off.
Okay.
Alexa, office light on.
Okay.
Alexa, all lights 100%. Just kind of a cool thing.
Lights doesn't support that.
Just kind of a cool thing that I've got going in my house. But the bench light really helps out a lot, because when you're tooling and you're looking, and if you can't see where your line is, it's hard to swivel knife that cut. I like to put too much pressure on my swivel knife for some reason. I gotta back off a little bit. But that light helps me really see it, and I can move it to where I need to on the bench and stuff like that really quick. Alexa, bench light off.
Okay.
Now, I talk really funny because I've had some medical procedures done to my mouth. I explained that in a different video. I'm not going to go back to it. That video's out there. If you guys are wondering, go to that video. I explain everything there. So that's what I've got going. Those are some of the things I've learned. I've also learned that these little tubs, you got dye, you're going to dye a huge surface. Pour some into here. Use your sponge. Then pour it into your mason jar, which helps out a lot. That mason jar, it was amazing at how that helped me out in that dye project. And all because I was trying to figure out why every time I saw a lot of leather workers, and they were good quality leather workers too, they always had those mason jars in the back, here and there. Some of it's for mixing, some of it's just because you got a big bottle of dye, you pour it out in your little bucket. It's hard to pour it back into those little nozzles up here. I mean, like the Kenoba cream, it's not an easy pour, and you don't want to get dye all over the place. So then you just buy it, pour it into a wide mouth jar. I keep the little daubers with that same color. That's why I've got the rubber bands there. And that's what's helped me. Now I hope some of these tips and tricks have helped you or given you some ideas. Or maybe you can say, hey, I do this for that situation, or I do that for that situation. You want to point that out. That would be awesome because that'll help me learn. Like I said, though, I'm a new beginner. I've only been doing leatherworking for a few months, so I don't have a lot of experience behind my belt, but I do got some leather, and I've been having fun. I'm almost done with the double shoulder. I'm almost done with a belly that I got. I'm actually working into my second double shoulder for the 4 to 5 ounce. So I'm trying, and I'm really enjoying this. It's been a lot of fun for me. It's been a challenge. It's helped me just clear my mind up, things like that. So, like I said, if you got any suggestions, you like some ideas, say, hey, I like that idea. Or, hey, why don't you try this instead of that? That would be awesome. I'll put it in the comments below. That way other people that are looking and they're beginners and they're like, wow, why is this or why is that? If they see it, that'll help them. I'm trying to run. I'm going to turn this into a business, and I'm going to try to run where I don't hide anything. The way I do everything is going to be out in the open. Everybody will get to see how I do everything. Videos is going to help me do that. Hopefully it gets other people into leatherworking. It gives people an idea of what leatherworking goes through. I'm hoping my videos get up better and stuff like that. So with that, I'm going to just kind of sign off because I'm kind of rambling at this point. So I'm going to sign off. If you like the video, if you got a comment, please like on YouTube and Facebook and subscribe in YouTube. That helps me out tons and immensely for what that helps me out with. So have a great day, guys. I hope your Thanksgiving was awesome. I hope you got to meet all your family members and that the arguments for anything were very minor. Have a good one. See you guys. Bye.